What is going on, you guys? This is Kevin, Full Metal Ginger, and yeah, man, we got another collection update to do for you today. So all this stuff I've had, sitting out here ready to go and be recorded for, I don't know, about 4 weeks now. It's like, I really need to start kicking myself in the ass because we're getting piled up and, new material to come out and old classics I'm getting in, and like some of this stuff I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to talking about it, so I'm really going to have to start fisting myself in the butt to kind of get some of this stuff knocked out. But this is no exception. So I've got 5 bands here to talk about today. Bands I've been meaning to discuss forever now. I was kind of talking about this in earlier videos, how I wanted to do like a video of maybe multiple albums for some of these bands, so that way I can get a little bit more in-depth discussion on what some of it sounds like. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. So yeah, 5 bands, and with the exception of maybe one, I think we've got multiple albums for each one, so should be fun. Let's go ahead and do it. Let me get some water, because yeah, once again, I've tried 50 times to get this thing recorded. Gotta stop being such a perfectionist. That's neither here nor there. So listen to Morta, Skuld, Dying Remains. This is kind of a reminder for me, like, oh yeah, they got a new album out. And I'm going to be broke for at least a couple weeks, so I don't know when I'm going to get around to picking it up, but definitely going to do it. Plus, I didn't think, many people would really complain. I mean, I hear this is a pretty good album. Let me know what you think. Alright, so got a lot of black metal to talk about, some thrash, some black death. Should be fun. First one we got, some black metal out of Sacramento. I've talked about this one before, but this is one I could discuss till I'm blue in the face. For me, it's one of the better ones to come out over the last 10-15 years. I mean, I think this album's absolutely phenomenal. This is the debut from Minenwerfer-Volksleider. And yeah, I talked recently about the tape version, but I had to get the CD as well so I could at least have it on my iPod. Absolutely devastating, superb, hyper-fast black metal. Basically, if you're a fan of the Commandant or Marduk styles, this will be up your alley. Very, very intense music. What I've always loved about this is you can really, really feel the passion these guys have for this. It's a 2-man project, and every note, every riff, every drum hit, every lyric sung on here, I mean, it really comes across that they were pouring their absolute heart into it, and it devastates me every single time I listen to it. Extremely fast, blasting all throughout, great vocals. I mean, everything about this is perfection, I think. But what I always thought was cool was how they try to focus a little bit more on World War I. I know there's countless bands that sing about World War II, and I mean, it's not that there's none for this war, but I mean, it's just a little bit refreshing in that sense. And it's always kind of motivated me. It's like, I really need to study this war a little bit more. Especially a war history buff, this is kind of something I've really wanted to tackle at some point in my life, which I've went over, things like Apocalypse World War I, but that's fairly brief and only kind of skims the surface and gives you the basics of what you need to know. So, every time I listen to this, it's like just a good reminder that I need to check out some other things. So, absolutely perfect album in my opinion. If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out, give it a listen. It's one of the best. And I know a lot of people are going to say this is the better one, and I think most people think this is their favorite from this band. This is their most recent one, Alpenpasse, or Alpenpasse, or however you say it. It's their 3rd full-length overall, and what's cool about this one is there's definitely an attempt to incorporate more atmosphere into their music, and I think they do a pretty good job of it, honestly. They still got that really frenetic, crazy sounding, hyper-fast riffage and stuff going on, but it definitely comes with a maturation, where they're kind of, trying to incorporate more diverse material into it, and it really comes off very, very well. I mean, these guys are great composers, really phenomenal musicians all around, to be quite honest. A lot of people will say that they either love the Marduk stuff or don't like it at all. And for me, depending on what it is, I can take it or leave it. But when it comes to this band, I mean, I really like both styles of what they've done. I like the more Marduk-inspired stuff, or this, which is more, atmosphere-induced, sort of the same thing, but I mean, when you listen to them back to back, it's really kind of night and day at the differences, which is refreshing, honestly, to have a band who can play two different styles and have it work, or be able to combine two different styles on one album and have it work. You know, a lot of bands are going to be really, really good at one style, and they try something else that just does not come off like it, like the passion was there, or that they knew what they were doing, or maybe it's just, you know, people being dicks and kind of just saying, well, I only like this one thing that they've done. So for me, I could go either way. I probably prefer Volksleider just a little bit, but this one is definitely worth all the praise it's gotten. I mean, I can't say enough good things about this one also. It's just a brilliant, brilliant material. So, I mean, if you haven't heard Minenwerfer, it's definitely time to check them out. Links below as always, so don't miss out on it. Alright, let's go over to Greece and talk about one of my favorite black metal bands on the planet, making some of what I think is the best black metal ever made. I mean, you can argue with me if you want, you'll be wrong, but I mean, it's just, feel free to argue with me. Anyway, I think this is the third full-length overall. This is Dodsferd with Cursing Your Will to Live. Man, just, this is their, I think this came out in 2007 on Moribund. Really, really fast, very violent, but still has plenty of atmosphere and melody to go along with it. Yeah, these riffs will be stuck in your head for days on end. I mean, it's just one of those that every time I listen to it, I know I'm going to be humming along to it all day at work. I was listening to this not too long ago, going on my way to work, and I had these songs in my head until probably 8 o'clock that night. So, I mean, for me, a person who really loves anything with some groove in it, something I can get behind and have it be, you know, memorable riffs, this is phenomenal stuff. So it's very similar to Naderath, but that's kind of like a lame comparison, because I mean, they're basically the same band. I know Nicholas, who does basically everything. I think he does everything. I know he does guitars and vocals on here. Let's see. The hell, I don't remember. I know he does vocals on here at the very least. He did vocals on the all the Naderath stuff as well. So I mean, you're basically the same type of band. But you know, they also incorporate stuff like material you'd hear on Sarcastic or Judas Iscariot, maybe some craft material. So I mean, that's kind of basically what you get. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the reason I love Dodsferd and Naderath, is just the songwriting is brilliant. I mean, there's tons of atmosphere, tons of melody, but still very aggressive, very violent sounding, very dark, very evil. I mean, it's just a combination of everything I love about black metal, and these guys pretty much do it the best, I would say. I mean, they've got some weaker material, obviously, but I mean, this one and the one I'm about to talk about is some of the best black metal on the planet, bar none, if you're asking me. So, check it out if you haven't already. This one is the follow-up, also on, Moribund. This one came out in 2008, so it's a year later. This is Death's at the Beginning of My Journey. This is the first time, and I think they haven't went back since to doing corpse paint dudes on the cover. So that's been kind of refreshing. Try to, you know, do some, you know, more original art style stuff. I mean, it's not like super crazy like something you haven't seen before, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, they took everything that was on Cursing and really upped the ante on this one. Everything has been perfected. It's more focused, more sharp. It's just, I mean, all the savagery is there, the killer riffs, the atmosphere, everything they did on Cursing Your Will to Live, they put it on here and just made it better. I mean, and I didn't think it could get much better than Cursing. I mean, this one is one of the best black metal albums ever made. This one's probably my favorite in terms of Dodsferd stuff. Yeah, man, every song is just locked in and it devastates from beginning to the end. I mean, it's an absolute brilliant freaking album. I don't even know what else to say about it. If you haven't heard this, you are definitely missing out. This is, I mean, again, some of the best black metal ever made. So please check the links on this if you haven't heard this band. Yeah, I don't even know where to start and end on with that one. It's just amazing stuff. So I'll just shut up. Alright, staying with Greece for one more. This is a compilation I picked up not too long ago. It's been out a little while, I think since 2016. Some of the best old school death metal that's out there, in my opinion. This is a compilation from Sarcastic Terror, the last act of Subsidence. There we go. I know I'm just going to screw that up. Yeah, so this is a compilation of material from, I think, the Hatred Years comp, Hammer Holocaust comp, and the EP they did. Or maybe it's a split. It's either a split or an EP, Infernal Hatred. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of any kind of old school death metal style, this is for you, and you definitely need to get some of this, man. Absolutely sick riffs, great guitar tone. I mean, and this is some of the best drum recording I've ever heard. So, you know, I don't know what everyone's problem is when it comes to having some of these just really shitty drum sounds. Yeah, again, it could be your producer, or it could be just trying to record on the cheap, but I mean, this stuff sounds great. These kick drums really cut through, the cymbals cut through without being loud and noisy, and the snare sounds perfect on here. I mean, oh, and to top it off, I mean, Jim's vocals sound like Butcher Razor from Grave Desecrator, so that's a huge plus for me. But yeah, I think this is all stuff from, I want to say between 91 and 95, maybe somewhere in there. So it's just pretty much around that time where death metal was on a peak, and oh, sorry, 91 to 96. So I mean, there you go. I mean, it's if you like any of those old school bands, Bolt Thrower comes to mind. Anything like that, you probably dig this for sure. So I think we've just got yeah, I mean, band history and some lyrics and things like that. But I think I picked this up on either Nuclear War Now or Hell's Headbangers. And this is a, who put this out? Dark Symphonies and Dark Descent. So there you go. Came with the Obi strip if you want that, which I don't really, but you know, if it's going to come with it, I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I mean, one of those bands that just didn't get enough credit, and I don't understand why, because this is some super devastating stuff. So there's that. All right, I think we got about 5 more. And speaking of a band that never really got the recognition they deserve, this one is one of the top of the list, honestly, especially when you consider what all came after this band. It's just kind of like, why did they not get noticed as much? So we've got the debut from Sadistik Exekution with the Magus or whatever. Death metal from Australia, their debut, if I didn't say that already. And man, just non-stop relentless speed. You could probably say this is a Black Death album, and yeah, but I mean, it's kind of it got a lot of styles kind of coming in and out, really. I mean, you've got the Bastille war metal style where it's a lot of just straightforward, you know, blasting and stuff, but I mean, at the same time, there's some thrash riffs that come in, and then just some pretty straightforward old school death metal gets played on this one. So I mean, it's kind of a mishmash of all that, but done really, really well. Just brilliant guitar work on here. Like I was saying, it's lightning fast material, and there's the CD. Just ultimately just pure ferocious speed, but I mean, still has some really catchy riffs. So I mean, that's partly what I really enjoy about it, because all that Black Death and Bastille stuff, that ship sailed with me. I got really, really bored of it after a while. But this is, if you're still into that stuff and you haven't checked this out, this is, for me, what would be like a pinnacle of that sound. How it can be that ferocious and barbaric, but still maintain a lot of groove to it, and it's just a really, really good listen. So yeah, this one came out back in '91. I forget who put this one out. This is the yeah, Osmos put this one out. Osmos might have put it out initially, but I really don't remember. But yeah, if you haven't heard this, you definitely need to get off your ass and go check it out. It's really, really good stuff. And then we've got the follow-up, and unfortunately the only 2 I own by this band, which sucks, but I'll get around to them eventually. This is We Are Death, Fuck You. This one came out in '94. It's their second full-length overall. And much of the same, really, when it came to this one. Maybe a little bit more on the steel side, the war metal stuff. It's a little bit more chaotic. Not a lot of, I mean, it's not very different, but it's just a little bit more chaotic, and kind of going down the war metal style just a little bit more. There's definitely also some slower parts in it, where this one is, the Magus was a little bit more intense, a little bit more ferocious. This one's kind of dialed back in some places, but also kind of creates a little bit more of a, I don't know, a darker, evil style to it, I guess you'd say. And I think this folded up into a, yeah, there you go. Go ahead and show you that. And there's the band. But what I was getting to about that is how they're not really discussed when it comes to some of the bands who kind of got the war metal style going. I mean, it's almost non-stop. Everyone talking about Blasphemy, or Sarcophago gets a lot of recognition for that. But I mean, at least in Australia, without these guys, you might not have had the Steel Warlust. But you could also say Conqueror came along later and played, some stuff that I hear on these albums. Who else? Black Witchery. I mean, a lot of that's kind of very similar to this. And with all due respect to Blasphemy, you got to give them credit. But I mean, I don't ever hear a lot of people really talking about Sadistik Exekution when it comes to those bands. And maybe where it just seems kind of like a thrash. It's almost like a thrash sounding name. It's spelled differently, and I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. But it's just, they're criminally underrated, really, when it comes to that stuff. I mean, they knew how to play that style and still have it catchy and memorable. I mean, this stuff, I can remember it later on. I mean, if I'm listening to Black Witchery, 10 minutes later, I forgot everything I heard. So, I mean, take that with what you will. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but please don't overlook this band. And they've got to get their recognition at some point. I mean, great stuff. Oh, yeah. Forgot about this one almost. So this one's been out, I don't remember. Anyway, this is a collection of demos that they've done that throughout their years. This is 30 Years of Agonizing the Dead. So this is a compilation of, what all was on here? Agonizing the Dead demo, Suspirial demo, Demon with Wings EP, Sadistic Electrocution, and a rehearsal demo from '87. It's basically just a good companion piece to have. I mean, if you're a fan of this band, this is something y'all should check out somewhere down the line. And I mean, it's also a good starting place, really. I mean, I would still say go with the Magus, but yeah, this is just one that you probably need to get at some point. But yeah, Nuclear War Now puts this one out, I want to say within the last 3 or 4 years. I just really don't recall. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about that. Very similar to this other stuff. Check it out. Alright, and to finish it off, we've got some more Razor albums that I've been wanting to talk about. Up till now, I think I have everything but Custom Killing when it comes to the full length. So outside of that, I've got everything else, and we'll go ahead and talk about this one, their debut, Executioner song. Yeah, I mean, classic Canadian speed metal, thrash metal, and this one is mostly tracks from the Armed and Dangerous EP, I want to say. And they also had some songs from Escape the Fire that were supposed to be on this. Okay, let me back up. So this is the Armed and Dangerous EP, some of their material from that, and Escape the Fire. But they had some songs on the Escape the Fire that were supposed to be the band's full length, but Viper Records wouldn't let them do it, so they had to re-record some stuff from Armed and Dangerous, maybe, and put it out on this. Anyway, the band was unhappy about doing that, and it's kind of pissed them off to this day. But I mean, really, aside from that, still a fantastic demo. Lightning fast riffs. Dave Carlo's guitar work is great. Sheepdog's vocals are on par with anything else he's ever done. I mean, this is, for me, one of their better ones. I mean, it's kind of hard to. Maybe I'm going to have to get at some point and go back and rank their full lengths, but I mean, it's going to be really hard to put that together. Yeah, I mean, in terms of a debut, you can't really ask for much more than this. They did a really, really good job. Great demo, great debut, and but still, some of the more dynamic albums were yet to come. But it is what it is. I mean, it's a good starter point for sure. And finally, last one we got today. One of their better ones, and I would say it's probably my 3rd or 4th favorite in terms of all the Razor material, but not talked about that much, and I don't really understand why. I have a theory, but it's kind of like, I may be wrong about it, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know everyone's opinion on this, but this is, I think, the 3rd full length. This is Malicious Intent. One of their better cover arts, that's for sure. So, I mean, look at this. That's horrible. This is definitely a step up. Yeah, it's not typically considered up there with, Evil Invaders or Violent Restitution, And I don't really get why, because some of these songs are amazing, man. Night Attack is great. Malicious Intent, Stand Before Kings, Cage the Ragers. I mean, it's a great, great album. My only knock would be the production on this seems just a little flat, and I mean, like, just a little. It doesn't really pop out at you like it does on, like I was saying, Evil Invaders or Violent Restitution. And to be fair, Evil Invaders was going to be a really, really hard album to follow up on, but I mean, considering how highly that one is kind of, you know, exalted, this one is pretty damn good. I mean, it's a really good follow-up. I mean, a lot of bands would have just kind of fell apart after that, but they did what they could do on this one, I'll say that. Let's see, what was I going to talk about? I mean, there's really nothing in the booklet here to show. I don't know why I even pulled it out, but yeah, I mean, I think a sharper sound overall would have done wonders for this album. Like I was saying, it's some of their best songs they've put out, I think. But maybe if, you know, it had been recorded a little bit better, like, you know, some of those other albums. I would probably rank this one above Shotgun Justice, really. And that's definitely one of their better ones. But I don't know. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This is certainly one of my favorites for sure. Alright, so that's all I have. Shit, I don't even know what's coming next. Maybe a tape update. I've got plenty of CDs to talk about. I've got some Broken Hope records coming in that I could show. So I don't even know at this point. But yeah, that said, I really appreciate you guys watching, keeping the channel going. Thanks for the support as always. I'll have a surprise for you next time, I guess. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you.